Hey USHL fans, Ezra Janello here with Frank Seravalli from the Daily Faceoff. Frank, thanks so much for talking with us today. NHL Draft, it's a big spectacle here at the Sphere.
Yeah, what a place. I've never seen anything quite like this. A little bit of motion sickness to start, but I'm sure we'll settle in nicely for the draft.
I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is seeing Max Celebrini's face just plastered all over this thing. It's going to look unbelievable.
So I know the NHL had been working behind the scenes on trying to find some stuff that might be sort of like virtual reality, like Macklin Celebrini coming down at you on a rush, which is scary enough for goalies, but when it comes to 17,000 people here watching, pretty unbelievable scene, and just can't wait to see him step into the NHL.
Well, consensus number one overall pick. He has been a scary thought for goalies for a long time now. What do you think the biggest thing he's going to bring to the table when he goes to the National Hockey League?
Just a complete game, and this sounds funny to say in terms of a comparison, but every person that I talk to, it's never going to be point production wise, but it's how complete of a player he is compared to someone like Sidney Crosby. All of the details, the physicality, his size, how much he wants to use his body to be active in the play, and those are all types of things that you learn playing in the USHL. You develop that skill set, the confidence to be able to then go to the next level and to be able to step into Boston University as a 17-year-old freshman and not just be a guy, but be a guy that, hey, when it's time for the last 2 minutes of the game, your coach, Jay Pandolfo, is putting you out on the ice when you're leading to protect a game, not to go chase a game. He puts you out to protect a game because he has trust in you that you're going to win a big face-off and you're going to be sound defensively, which is something that Celebrini has been for a long time.
Celebrini, North Vancouver kid, Canadian kid, not the only Canadian in the USHL getting drafted this year. Sacha Boisvert, another notable one, ranked 17 among North American skaters. But it used to be that if you wanted to go to college, you went the USHL route. Now it's turning into, if you want to go to the NHL, the USHL is a really great place to go. 57 draft picks in 1 year. That's the record back in 2018 and 2022. 123 overall first-round draft picks out of the USHL. From your perspective, what's so attractive about the United States Hockey League and getting to the NHL?
Well, it's just all the eyes are on you that you want. It doesn't really matter where you want to go, what your goals are. If you want to be a high-end Division I player, if your goal is just to make it to play Division I, or if you ultimately have designs on making it to the NHL and having a long and successful pro career, I can't think of a better place to go out and do that than in the USHL. Players are treated phenomenally, the facilities are unbelievable, and that's the place where coaches in college hockey trust the most to get their players. But to your point, it's not just college hockey. You can step right from the USHL as you continue to progress right into pro hockey if you really wanted to. So there's everything that's available to you, nothing that's closed off, and I think really when you consider the educational component and the ability to really get a sense of what life is like in the U.S. for a player that might be, from overseas or certainly coming from Canada, I think it's truly the premier option available.
Guys like Artem Levshinov, who came over from overseas, comes to the USHL, does a year, goes to Michigan State, and he's going to have a pretty big impact next year in the NHL.
Right away. I mean, I think that's the expectation, is that he's drafted number 2 overall by the Chicago Blackhawks, and he's a guy that, because he's had that seasoning in the USHL and he's played at Michigan State, that he's ready to step into the NHL at this age, and that's hard to do. There's maybe a small smattering, a handful of guys at the very most from this draft class that are going to be able to do that, and because he's been able to play that style of game in North America for so long, he's got such a big leg up over some of his peers that might be coming from overseas.
We've got Celebrini at 1, you mentioned Levshinov, 2 to Chicago. Who are some other names that fans should watch out for that they're going to be pretty household names coming here in the future?
I can't wait to see some guys take bigger roles in the NHL. Like, you think back to the draft just a year ago and you see these guys get their feet wet, but how about another USHL alum in Adam Fantilli? Like, he's a guy that in Columbus, big changes, new GM, new head coach, who they still didn't name yet. That's one of the ways their season went sideways, I think, is because they didn't properly utilize someone like Adam Fantilli last year. So he's going to be right in the mix and a big part of the reason why the Columbus Blue Jackets are on their way forward.
Frank, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We love the work with the Daily Faceoff, and of course, we're really excited to see some Lumberjacks, some USHL guys taken tonight and tomorrow here at the Sphere.